What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy SVT Evan, and we are back today with a banger. Today's video we are talking about, is the Gen 1 Coyote overrated? But before we get into the video, guys, hit that like button, helps your boy out a ton. Consider subscribing, and I will catch y'all in the next clip. Let's go, baby.
Alrighty, guys, let's start off with the basics and where I got my opinion formed from. And this is my 2014 Mustang GT. Obviously, this is the 5.0. I picked this car up about 4 months ago, almost to the date. And I have adored this thing. I've put a little over 1,000 miles on it, and it is an absolute blast. This car has surpassed all expectations I ever had. Having the Terminator and still having it. Little hint there for those wondering what I sold. Still have the Cobra. I never thought that the Coyote could kind of fill its shoes or even come close, and I am very pleasantly surprised with how good the Gen 1 Coyote is. So let's start about appearance, because for me, that's huge. If the car's ugly, I don't care. The S550s look really, really good, but to me, this is the cream of the crop, baby.
The cream of the crop.
These are, in my opinion, the 1314 specifically, the best looking Mustangs in the past, like, I don't know, 30 years or so, 40 years, I don't know. I think they just look so darn good. Now, that's obviously subjective, but a lot of people also like the 11 to 12. So I like the 11 to 12 front ends, but the 13, 14 rear ends with all the paint matched rocker panels and stuff. But this color also helps a ton. So this is arguably one of, if not the best color that came on these cars. This is deep impact blue. I kind of parked in the shade so you guys can't see it, but it has a ton of flake. These years had a bunch of cool colors. You had grabber blue, which is very popular. You know, gotta have a green. But in terms of styling and appearance, it looks sick. Now, one thing I hate, and I think this is common on just about all Mustangs, is the wheel gap on the S197s are disgusting. I mean, really? Like, that is horrible, but that is easily fixed with a set of lowering springs, coilovers, or bags. But in terms of appearance, I mean, look at this. Man, she is a looker. And the taillights, of course. I mean, the taillights are, they're the $1 million taillights up there with the amber taillights from the 99 to 01 Cobras. So that is the exterior. Let's go into the interior. All right, so interior compared to the S550s, it's not as nice. Granted, this car is almost fully optioned, so you have the premium package, you have the leather heated seats, you have the nav, you have the My Color, so that definitely helps. I definitely think that is a plus. It makes it look a little bit more modern, but compared to the S550s, the interior is not everything it is all hyped up to be. But let's face it, you're not buying these cars for the interior, you're buying them to drive them, and that is what we're going to get into next. Let's talk about performance. All right, almost forgot. How can we forget the exhaust? So we're going to insert a few clips here. These Gen 1 Coyotes sound so good. Now, it's my opinion, but I think the S550s, they're like, I don't know if they have a different firing pattern, but they're louder at lower RPMs. Whereas these Gen 1s tend to scream at the higher RPMs. Maybe I'm crazy. Some of y'all can probably call BS on that one, but I think these cars sound good. But I'm gonna put in a few clips. I have everything stocked besides Flowmaster Outlaw mufflers. So it's very impressive how loud this car is in the tone. Obviously with Coyotes, they can get extremely raspy, and that's disgusting. It sounds like the car's vomiting when you're, you know, under acceleration. I didn't like that. This thing is deep, it's throaty, it's nuts, it sounds great.
All right, guys, we're gonna try this video again because your boy was just editing and realized the last video, the whole angle was pointed up towards the ceiling. So I'm hoping this is better for you guys. I'm gonna do my best to slouch so you can actually see where we're going. But let's talk about performance, because that is what most of you guys probably care about. So during this, I'm going to be talking a lot about, or comparing it to my 0304 Cobra, also to Gen 2 and Gen 3 Mustangs. So in terms of what I think is overrated and underrated, so since this video is really about overrated, I think one of the most overrated things about this car is that high like RPM pull. Now, does this car pull hard up top? Absolutely. Granted, mine is very basic bolt-ons. I have very little done to it, so I don't have like a Boss 302 manifold or a Cobra Jet or an 18 plus manifold, anything like that. So this car is still, I believe, factory tuned. I don't know, I bought it used. So the rev limiter is only around 7,000, but I know this car can pull pretty hard up top, but people make it seem like that's where it's all about. What I found is that this car, the money's really kind of in the low end power. So what I've noticed with this car compared to my 03 Cobra is obviously with the 0304 Cobra being boosted with a positive displacement blower, you're getting a lot more oomph. But this still carries itself very, very well. I was blown away because this car comes with 420 horsepower and 390 foot-pounds of torque stock. Really, really, really happy because the Cobra is supposed to be 390, 390, but those cars were very underrated from the factory. People were dynoing at that power level at the wheels bone stock. So similar, I guess it's actually kind of a perfect comparison. I would say the 0304 has a little bit more low end torque, but this is not far off, and being that it's 100% NA, this car I think has like a throttle body and intake, it has exhaust, but very, very mild, very basic, and it's awesome. Now, there's a couple things to note, things that I think are underrated, which is going to be the 6R80. So that depends on who you talk to. You know, a lot of people are the MT82 nut swingers, which there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but it's not great. Now, I get the people that are all T56, T56 Magnum, TR6060s. Those are all very good stout transmissions. The MT82s are just so hit or miss. You could have some that'll live at super high, power levels with a different clutch, or you'll have stock ones that you get third gear lockout in your SOL. So for me personally, there was no question about going with the 6R80 because this trans can hold a ton of power. And someone I'm sure can come in here and comment, but I want to say these in factory form, you might need a converter, but you can get upwards of 700-800 wheel horsepower, and these trans still hold up fairly well. So that to me was huge. Granted, now that gets me into the next point, is once you start going for those big boy power numbers, that is where one of the things that I feel is often kind of not spoken too much about the Gen 1s is that you're really getting into dangerous territory when you surpass the 625, 650 wheel on stock internals. I believe on these cars, it's the rods that let loose. They get, that's kind of the weak point on these cars. If you do forged internals and then you do, head studs, there's so many different things. You can do a 3-2-1 combo, Gen 2 swap, whatever. There's a lot of options, but if you're staying Gen 1 with stock internals, like you're not doing anything to the motor, 650 is probably your happy point. Anything past that, you're on borrowed time, unless your tuner has all the sauce, but still super sketch. So with that being said, when you look at this compared to a Gen 2, the Gen 2 takes very well to boost. Those cars can live very happily in the high 700s, low 800s compared to these, which is in the 650s. So with the Gen 2s and the Gen 1s, this is a really good comparison because the price point is very similar. You can easily get yourself into a 2015 for almost the same prices. You're gonna get a Gen 1 1314 clean. You're probably gonna get a little bit more mileage on the 15 compared to the 1314 for the price, but still, that is a really, really great motor. Now, there's a lot of difference between the two cars, because then, of course, with the S550s, you go to a full IRS setup in the rear, whereas these are still the straight rear axles. So some people love them, some people hate them. I think it's great the way it is. It goes straight. You don't have to worry about a bunch of bushings and all these other moving components. Granted, the IRS does ride smoother, and of course, if you want to upgrade your half shafts and do all this other stuff, you can build an extremely stout IRS that's going to have the best characteristics of, just going in a straight line, but still getting better suspension and better ride quality. Oh, is that a cop? Nope, just an Altima wanted to do a dig. Just kidding. But yes, so in terms of performance, it depends who you talk to. I think that these are perfectly what people explain that they are. I don't want to say that they're overrated, because I don't think too many people are saying that Gen 1s are king daddy in terms of power, because they're absolutely not. But in terms of styling, I think they are the best looking in the past 10-15 years. Honestly, I know I'm probably slightly biased, but I would argue all day long that before this came out, the 0304 Cobra was the best looking, most aggressive looking Mustang prior to this. This just looks freaking great. You can't beat the body lines. You can't beat just the retro feel that they went with, and the color choices during these years was awesome. The S550s, they haven't really done too many cool colors, at least in the Gen 2s. I mean, you had like, I think Grabber orange or whatever orange, but not too many cool blues. So yeah, guys, there you go. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like. It helps your boy out a ton. Consider subscribing if you want to see more content. We got tons of content coming. We got this, we got the Cobra, we have another car, we have the truck, and we have the Sur-Ron. Plus, you know me, I'm always buying toys, so it's very possible there might be more stuff in the very near future. But let's do a little poll here. Baby. And that's just in drive. We're not doing anything crazy. That's probably like 75% throttle. Don't want to get too rowdy, especially by our neighborhood. But yeah, these cars make all the right sounds. They're just so good. I love the Gen 1. This is one of those cars that I don't ever see myself selling. That also goes along with the Cobra. These two were the staples growing up that I always wanted. So there you guys go. Again, I know I keep going. That's my thing. But I love you guys so much. Please be sure to drop a like. It helps your boy out a ton. And I will catch y'all in the next upload. Peace out, fam.